What do we know about Meituan's IPO so far?
So what we know is that they did raise above that $4 billion mark, and they've got some really key investors in there. Hong Kong's richest man, Lau Ka-shing, has personally put his money behind the stock, and you have some investors like Alipay, which are also agreeing to buy into the listing. But some of the key investors that you would hope to see for a Hong Kong listing are not necessarily as strong as hoped. Retail investors have not seen as much enthusiasm about this stock, and perhaps that's because a lot of the Chinese retail investors have gotten burned recently. You've seen a sell-off in these Chinese tech stocks over in Hong Kong. So that key piece of the market and some of the rationale of why these Asian companies choose to list in Hong Kong potentially missing from that $4 billion plus that Meituan raised.
Right. Why list in Hong Kong anyway when you have so many more Chinese companies listing in the United States?
It is an interesting one. They follow Xiaomi, who did choose to list in Hong Kong, and I think it is because of that retail piece. Meituan is the big food delivery giant. They know the investor group there, but to your point, you've seen more and more companies, 24 companies year to date, raise more than $7 billion in U.S. IPOs because, like my conversation with Neo, the China of Tesla, who listed in the U.S. this week, the CFO told me yesterday that they came to New York because New York has the broadest depth of investors, and they also have the comparable companies in Tesla trading here, so potentially investors can learn the story. Meituan seems to be going more of the route of Xiaomi, who thinks that staying in that home market, potentially just pitching to the home audience, which really understands the business, is definitely the way to go.
So, Alex, talk to us a little bit about what we can expect from the China IPO, especially the tech IPO pipeline, over the next year.
So you have a lot of these large Tencent-backed, Alibaba-backed companies. It's really become the age of these companies that have Tencent and Alibaba in their sights. 2014 was Alibaba's year to have that blockbuster IPO, but now in Asia you have these companies like Meituan. But also, interestingly, the pipeline does continue for those companies looking to list in New York. We have Viomi, which is a Tencent-backed internet-connected application maker, coming to, the Xiaomi-backed Xiaomi-backed application maker coming to New York, and we're all waiting on that Tencent Music listing to potentially file for a U.S. IPO. So bottom line is, while the U.S. startups have been majorly absent from the listings market, the ones valued at more than $10 billion, a lot of these Asian companies seem to be taking advantage of getting out earlier. And you see in the rounds too, it's not that they don't have the money flowing into the system. These large companies are taking large stakes in the IPO. It just seems like they're taking advantage of taking public capital instead of waiting on the wings like Uber or Lyft or Airbnb has done.